Thank you for tuning in to the Rock is George podcast, episode 245, featuring vocalist KYLE BRANDT and guitarist JEFF IRVINE of the progressive rock act A Light Within, discussing their latest single, Dying Clock. Jeff, we'll start with you. If I knew absolutely nothing about A Light Within, how would you describe the band's music to me?
How I always tell my friends is if Pink Floyd were our age, but with more distortion.
Fair enough.
Because I mean, I know we don't use a lot of heavy gain or high distortion or anything like that, but it's just a way to get the idea across to people that have no idea what I do.
Kyle, is there anything you want to add to that?
Oh, man. Yeah, that's a hard one, especially for A Light Within, because we have such different tastes and the variety of influences that it's really hard to nail down exactly who we sound like, at least from a popular band perspective. There's a couple we could probably fit in with that are not so well known, but I don't know. But I guess I could see the Pink Floyd reference too, but definitely not too close to it, but definitely influenced by.
Light Within released their latest single, Dying Clock, on December 10th. Jeff, did you write this song together with Kyle?
It's kind of started in the room, and then Kyle took some rough demo recordings and built out the full structure. And then I kind of came over to, I came over to his place and we did like a demo guitar recording that most of it kind of stayed into the track through the whole thing. And then Kyle did the vocals on top of that, and it just kind of sat for a while after that. So it's been around for a few years, and the pandemic kind of killed the progress of it. And then trying to get back into it after that, just life was always getting in the way. And then I had seen on either Facebook or Instagram that Kelli Scott was doing drum sessions for your songs. So I was like, well, I'll reach out to him, see what he says. And he was into it right away and got the drums from him and kind of picked back up our steam for it and put it back together and finished it.
So, Kyle, the song kind of goes back to the tail end of the pandemic. Is that how and when it came together?
Yeah, further back than that, when we were still jamming with our old bassist, Andy, and during the writing of the Epilogue album, we had a demo idea, and this song was called Collider, and that's what this all stemmed from. And I really just took like a live room recording and took maybe 4 or 5 bass note progressions and took that and then just rebuilt it in my DAW and then started from there. And then all of a sudden I had like an entire song structure of all kinds of weird ideas. Presented it back to the guys. Jeff liked the idea. A couple of other guys didn't see the potential. And so then it just sat in Dropbox for, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. And then finally we're just like trying to get the ball rolling again. And Jeff was like, remember that idea of that song? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, we should finish that. And I said, all right, that's a great idea. Cause I always liked the potential of it. And we knew the other guys weren't really having it. So when Jeff found Kelli able to throw some drums on it, I was like, sure, why not? So he threw down, and it was a little different of a vibe. So we had to like kind of tailor the sound around what Kelli delivered back to us, which was awesome to do. So yeah, and then you hear the final product. So it's had many iterations, but I love the way it turned out. Like it's a really proggy, artistic piece.
Where did you draw inspiration from lyrically?
Probably where the band was during the COVID era. The COVID era, we had like all this momentum going, and then COVID hit and it just kind of like tore the band apart as far as momentum goes. We weren't able to get together and practice. The majority of these guys were kind of used to writing and hanging out in the room. And, I adapted more to the modern era of writing at home and Dropboxing files to each other and stuff like that. Jeff's now on board, but not everybody's been on board with the new modern take of writing music. And so, yeah, it just kind of like stalled out. And I think I always try and write lyrically, like real metaphorically, so that I can, bring in a bigger audience and more people can relate to it. But for me personally, the lyrics are really about like the future of the band and the relationship as a whole. And will it, like the inner struggle of really trying to stick together and maintain through, I guess the hardships of being in a multi-relationship band and going through something like COVID.
Jeff, this isn't your only single since the COVID lockdown era. You guys released a single in 2023 and in 2024. Are these singles leading towards a full-length album or an EP at some point?
Yeah, so the ideas were to have these songs that we were working on, like Kyle mentioned, pre-COVID. We had a bunch of ideas rolling, and we were going to do our first full length. And all these ideas were kind of stemmed from that. So the idea is to hopefully finish up. We're working on one right now, and then definitely have one more to do, and maybe possibly two more to do if I can convince Kyle to do this last one. He hasn't really been privy to this one a whole lot, so we'll see what he thinks about it. And then, yeah, we're calling it Reconstruction at the moment. It might stay that, it might not, but I mean, it definitely fits with what we're doing right now and how we're heading moving forward. So it's a good title, and we'll see what happens. The idea is to kind of release it at least as a full length, or maybe grab 5 songs as an EP. We're not sure yet.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, go ahead.
I was going to say I can touch on that too. We've always been a band that, since we always wrote in the room, it always took a long time to get everything out. And we're just trying to take a different approach now, where instead of taking, 3 to 5 years to write a collection of pieces and release them all at once, we're just kind of adapting and trying to release one at a time as we go. That way people who do like our music and follow us don't have to wait for so damn long. We can kind of just keep feeding them singles one at a time until maybe we have a collection of them that we release as a package. We've released some that I've been listening to, and I'm just like, man, there's some things I'd like to change about that, or remix, or apply new techniques to make it sound a lot better as far as audio quality goes. So maybe that's something that'll happen as far as stuff that's already been released on Reconstruction.
Kyle, you mentioned the band sort of fell apart during the lockdown era. Did the other two parties move on to other bands at some point, or they're just out of music altogether?
No, I mean, I think they've kind of shown some interest of getting it back together. But I know that our drummer Nick had some twins, and like the family's growing, and so I've been in that stage of my life as well. My kids are grown now, so I have some more freedom. But he's in that stage where it's a little more difficult to apply time to something like this. And Josh, the bassist, has kind of been in the same boat. So as the kids got to a certain age, for 3 out of 4 of us, it just made it more difficult. So we're always pinging the group chat and saying, hey, you want to get back together? You want to hit the room again and stuff like that. So we'll kind of see what happens, but we're just remaining flexible and kind of going with the flow. And Jeff and I are really motivated, so we're just going to keep going.
Jeff, you mentioned drummer Kelly Scott of the band Failure playing drums on Dying Clock. Did you manage to secure him on any future singles?
I asked if he was doing this in 2026, and he said he was doing that. So, I mean, and he said, this is what he said. He said he'd be honored to play on our songs. I'm like, okay, that's pretty damn cool, if you ask me. So, yeah, I mean, I know he was out of the country for a little bit, so I don't know if he's back now or not, but I'll hit him back up at the beginning of the year and see where he's at.
Yeah, he's in Japan right now on a vacation, I think. And he did post that he was going to continue doing session work next year. But yeah, like Jeff mentioned, it was really cool hearing back from him, because when he delivered the drums, we kind of sat on them and mixed them for a while, and then we had to figure out what we were going to do for bass. And then once we finally delivered the finished product to him, I think he was pleasantly surprised. He wrote Jeff a really nice message back saying that, wow, we really made his day. And it was a pleasure to hear, how we mixed it in and stuff like that. So that was awesome to hear. I was really nervous because mixing someone else's drums, especially someone iconic, really kind of had me like, oh crap, I don't want to screw this up. What if Kelly hates the snare tone or hates the kick or just totally despises everything I did to his drum kit in the DAW? So, yeah, I was really happy to hear that he didn't hate it once he heard it. So, and he's, yeah, like I think Jeff said, he'd be honored to work on more tracks with us. So,
you also had Madeline Robertson play bass on Dying Clock. Is she also another session musician?
Yeah, so she's a good friend of mine, been friends for a long time, various projects, just one of the best all-around musicians I know, and just always down to do anything. So when I sent the song over to her, she heard it, she was like, hell yeah, I'll throw some bass on that. So I was like, yes, awesome. So that's what it turned out to be.
So since you have both adapted to kind of doing the Dropbox thing and recording your parts back and forth from home, is A Light Within going to be mainly a studio band versus a live band? Jeff, why don't you start first?
Yeah, I mean, right now I think we're going to move forward as being a recording project. And if the right opportunities or a good opportunity pops up for live performances, we will hopefully be able to tackle those. I have reached out to friends of mine that said they would step in and play if our other two guys weren't up for it or didn't really care about it anymore. So we'll see how that goes.
Kyle, I'm sure that you agree with him, but obviously the live stage kind of presents different opportunities versus the studio.
Yeah, actually, like I'm a studio guy first, so I love doing the music. To me is all about the creation. So I feel good and I get self-satisfaction when I create something. So yeah, I love doing the studio, the writing. I get all the satisfaction from that. Playing live is, I've done it a million times. It's fun, but it always makes me nervous, and it seems like it's a lot of hard work to get myself and the whole band tight enough to where I feel comfortable and proud to deliver a performance. Not saying, we've done it many times, but it takes a lot of hard work to do it. That said, I don't want to put all that hard work in and then, have an audience of 10. Maybe I'm spoiled, but, the way I look at it is if we can put out music and people want it and they want to see it live and there's a demand for it, then yes, I'm all about putting in the hard work to deliver that. But it's kind of the opposite nowadays. The older I am, it's more of a, if people want it, I'll put in the work, but I'm not going to put in the work and then beg people to come see it.
Jeff, when was the last time A Light Within played live?
Was that 2022 at Lemonade Park?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So yeah, been a minute. And it was Lemonade Park is an outdoor venue owned by the guys who own Record Bar and Mini Bar. So it's just it was a cool experience to play out there. And
so it was a great show too. It was a great night. We worked hard to do it. We put together a tight set list. We delivered, got a lot of compliments, had a decent turnout. So yeah, that was a good one. So it would be fun to do something like that again.
Maybe something like, I don't know what the local scene looks like in Kansas City, but like a show in the park or something that's a guaranteed audience that might appeal to you.
Honestly, I'd love to, if we had a band that rolled into town that we all loved and we got asked to open, that'd be a great thing too.
I was going through your back catalog and noticed a series of EPs, the Preface EP, Body Matter, and Epilogue. I believe these are concept albums. They have song titles that reference different page numbers. Kyle, if you want to tell me a little more about these releases.
Sure. So I've always been a huge concept album fan. Maybe that's a lot of influence from Pink Floyd as well, but I wanted to put more into our music and art as a whole. So when we were originally when we were a new band back in 2012 or 13-ish, and we decided to put out our 3-song demo, we kind of formed this concept about finding somebody's diary that they had written down some life experiences in. And as a band, we took and transcribed that diary into musical format. So the lyrics are really based. A lot of times when I write in third person, try and write from another person's viewpoint, because I don't know, my life's not all that interesting. I'm a pretty happy guy, and so there's not a lot of drama or something that I can write about personally. So I try and look at things through other people's eyes. And when we were writing this, we came up with that concept, and it just kind of flowed from EP to EP to EP until we finally ditched the concept and decided to close that chapter, I guess, so to speak, and come up with something new. So as far as the next concept goes, we don't know yet. We're not at an album level concept yet, but as you see with Dying Clock, there's some conceptual ideas within the song itself.
Jeff, you guys revisited Preface with a release called Repreface in 2024. What changes did you make, if any?
The biggest changes were just kind of simplifying some of the guitar tones and redoing a lot of the guitar, not a lot, redoing a handful of guitar tones and just bringing up what we have to the production values and style that Kyle had been achieving with the new stuff. So we're trying to level match that stuff with the stuff that we're doing nowadays. And it was just kind of cool to see it, at that moment in time, that was our voice that we had, and we weren't very good with recording and mixing all that. So to bring that back to life in a reimagined way was a cool thing to do. And it gave us something to do while we're waiting to figure out our next steps.
Are there any plans to kind of revisit the other 2 EPs to kind of make it more complete and more up to date with what you've done so far?
I'll take that one. I'll take that one.
I'll do that one to Kyle.
We were just talking about this today a little bit. But yeah, at least let me talk on Preface too. So when we originally did that, I was just diving into like home recording and trying to figure out, how to do it on our own, because we didn't have the financial benefits to go to a real studio and do all this. So it was kind of just like, hey, we're a young band. Let's try and tackle it ourselves for these. And at the time we were, happy with what we got. But as the years gone by, we're like, wow, those were really bad. And, but we still liked the songs. So I went back and started investigating what we had as far as stems. And some of the stems were like, I was actually impressed with the way the quality of them, even when we were starting. The drums were, not the greatest recorded, but workable. The bass was definitely workable. A lot of the things that I found were problematic were definitely vocals. I felt I was like the weak spot. And so I was like, well, that's fine. I can redo those, pretty easy. And then I asked Jeff, I said, hey, do you want to redo some guitars? Not because of bad playing, but just bad mic placement. Really tones not tweaked for recording, but more tweaked for a room. So once Jeff said, yeah, sure, I'll throw down some new guitars. So then I was like, all right, well, we, redid it, and it's more presentable now. I'm more willing to say, hey, listen to this, and not like, oh my God, don't listen to that one. Listen to the new stuff or something like that, So I'd be proud if someone found Preface right off the bat. Re-Preface. If they found that as an introduction to A Light Within, I would still be really proud if they heard that. Songs like Morning and Sixes. Yeah, Sixes is unique for us. But yeah, sorry, I went off on a tangent there. But leading into that, we were just discussing earlier today some tracks on reconstruction so far, just not happy with the production. So there may be a time where we go and fix some things. There's a song on there called Terraform that I think has real potential, but we just didn't capture it in the recording process. So I think it could be captured and done a little bit better in the future. So maybe when we talk about putting a full length out sometime in the future, it'll contain some of those songs that we put out, but in a much higher quality.
Jeff, do you guys have a timeline for when you'd like to release the follow-up single to Dying Clock?
Timelines. We're terrible with timelines. So
we're trying to get better.
Yeah, we're trying to get better. Hopefully sooner rather than later, but we're not going to rush it, because if we rush it, then it's not going to be what we want. And since we don't have anybody holding that carrot in front of us, we can take our time. But again, we are trying to get faster at it. It'll probably be, I'm going to say maybe spring, hopefully. I'm not going to put us to that, but sooner rather than later, I'll say that.
I will, we're working hard at it. We've already, Jeff and I wrote a new one just 2 weeks ago we started on it or something like that. And it's come a long way. I'll give you a teaser. It's already 12 and a half minutes long. So I don't know if we'll bring it down a little bit, but I'm really enjoying working on it. I've been working on it all day today. It's really fun. I'm starting to track some vocals to it now. Depending on what happens there, it might need some restructuring, but I'm playing with some vocals. And then after that, we'll see about restructuring. And then we will start contacting maybe some drummers and some bassists to see who wants to throw down on it. And that'll kind of be the bottleneck, figuring out what to do in those areas. If it's the guys in the band, they like the idea, want to throw down on it, and that would be great. Otherwise, we'll have to reach out like we did with Dying Clock.
Kyle, do you work with any other bands?
Yeah, I have a side project called MOLITOTH. It's kind of my own persona there. So if anybody likes my voice or my style, you can go check out that project. I've got 2 full-length albums and a couple singles with that project. That stemmed actually in the COVID era. So in 2019, 2020, when A Light Within kind of was coming to a stall, I was still hungry to write music. And so that's when I decided to go down the path of writing my own full-length album, which was very, very difficult. And but man, I'm so satisfied with it. I listened to it in full the other day and I was like, damn, I did a good job. So I hope everybody can go listen to that. It's called The Tribunal. You can find it on any streaming platform. Wrote the majority of that and did most of it myself I brought in some guest musicians for some guitars. But yeah, really proud of that one. And then a couple years later, Madeline, who we talked about earlier, presented me with 3 or 4 demos of songs. And I sat on them for a while and I was like, you know what? I actually see the potential in these. And so we decided to kind of co-write and do a second album called You, and it's another full length. I think that came out in 2023. And so yeah, I'm really proud of that one as well. If you like, there's a lot of Opeth influence in there, Porcupine Tree, Fair to Midland, Dredge, a lot of proggy rock metal bands that I've really been into. It's just a whole collection of my influences. If you listen to that album, and you can hear a lot of what I'm influenced by. So really proud of that one. Would appreciate if anybody checks that out. And then I'm currently working on full-length album number 3. So
nice.
So yeah, I'm working hard.
He's a slacker.
Jeff, do you have any other projects?
Yeah, so my music taste is kind of wide and varied. So I'm in another band that I've played with the drummer since we were in high school together. So I'm not gonna say how many years, but it's been a long time. And it's a 2-piece. It's kind of noisy art rock, but with a storytelling attitude. So it's just I play guitar, he plays drums and does the vocals, and then yeah, we've done a lot of different, I don't know, like 8 different albums maybe, but they're kind of weird pieced together things here and there. But it's just fun. Yeah, my big motto is if it's not fun, don't do it. So kind of just going with that vibe. And then he and I just started. We did something 3 months ago for a Steve Albini tribute. So he just did the vocals, and we brought in a drummer and a bass player, and I played guitar on that, and we did a whole tribute thing with that. And now we're kind of going to write some original material for that. It's again kind of on the noisy art rock thing, but it's got a lot more driving bass to it, so it kind of fills that void that everyone says about Medicine Theory. It's like, hey, you should have a bass player. I'm like, well, we've tried that 3 times and it didn't work out.
You guys are playing live too, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So Jeff gets his live fill.
Yeah, I get my fix that way.
You keep it local, just to the area you live in?
Actually, we don't. We kind of focus in like a 4-hour, 8-hour, and then 12-hour radius. So we'll go all the way down to Austin, play shows, and try to book just a weekend warrior type thing. But we'll do 2 or 3 shows in a weekend, like 4 hours out, 8 hours out, and come back, or something like that. You know.
What'd you say the name of the band was again?
So it's called The Medicine Theory, but the is in parentheses, so it's parenthetical the.
Does that make it harder to search out if you don't use the parentheses?
No, it shows up either way, which is weird.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think maybe Facebook will go, nope, not there unless you put the parentheses around it. I'm not sure.
Kyle, where did the name A Light Within come from?
More of a Jeff question.
All right, Jeff.
All right. Yeah. So when my previous band had stopped playing, I wouldn't say it got into a dark place, but I kind of got into a place where I was like pissed off and grumpy and not happy. And when I reached out to these guys to start this project, I already kind of had the name in mind. And it's just kind of that hope inside, that light within inside you that kind of brought me back into a better spot. So just kind of metaphor for the hope inside of you, the light within, you know, or a light within, not the, because that's a band from Florida.
All the good band names have been taken, or they've been taken by craft beer.
Yeah. And when I searched for that name before I presented it to the guys, I didn't see anything. So I was really happy. I think right after we got that name, they'd already been working on stuff. And then I think they put out a record almost like 6 months before we put out our first EP. So then their name started showing up here, but I don't think it shows up much anymore, but we outlived it.
I think A Light Within was already named before I joined the band, right? Like that was already the name before I joined.
Yeah.
You guys had that little teaser promo video out with just some instrumental. So yeah, these guys were like post-rock influenced. I don't know, what would you say? What was the vision of the band before you brought vocals in?
Well, vocals are always going to be part of it, in my opinion. So those two, the guys, I'm not sure, but yeah, it was, you know, post rock with a little bit of heaviness here and there, just kind of where we took it. But that was the initial thought with it. But yeah,
then I came and ruined it.
Yeah, no, you didn't ruin it. You made it better. But that teaser was just some weird sounds and stuff I recorded, and just to put out the story of what was happening with it. That kind of made it more Mankind General than myself, but it was fun.
We were talking the other day about the early times in the band, and just how long the songs were. The demos that I was getting were like 16 minutes, 17 minutes long. And I'd have to pare it like way down because I'd run out of lyrics, and I'd just be like, guys, I can't, I don't have enough to say for 17 minutes worth. So I'd get it down to like, I don't know, 5 or 6 minutes. And it's funny, we got a mention on the Dying Clock the other day. Someone was like, 9 minutes, really? And I'm like, that's what we do around here. We write long songs.
I think if you could add a long, indulgent keyboard solo, then you could stretch it out to even longer.
Oh, yeah.
Then you wouldn't need more words.
Hence this 12.5-minute song that we're currently working on.
That's prog rock.
Yep, it's got a lot of synth in it.
Jeff, how did you and Kyle first meet?
So our two bands played shows together here and there. And the first time I heard his voice, I'm like, damn, all right, that guy can sing. And started chatting here and there. And all of our bands at about the same time kind of stopped playing out. So it was just, I reached out to Josh and Nick, and then reached out to Kyle and brought in the bass player from my previous band. So that's how that kind of started. I think he was the last one to come in. I can't remember now. It's been
Me?
so long. Brett. Was
Oh,
he
no,
last?
he was there when you pulled me in. Yeah, you guys were already a 3-piece at that point.
4-piece.
Ready?
4-piece. Wow, I can't do math.
Well, Jeff, Kyle, those are all the questions I have for you today. The new single is Dying Clock. It's out now. It's a great little prog rocker, I think. And I want to thank you both for taking the time to tell me more about it and more about A Light Within. And I wish you the best of luck with everything and hope to talk again in the future.
Thanks for your time.
Thanks, George.
Once again, I want to thank KYLE BRANDT and Jeff Irvine of A Light Within for coming on the Rock is George podcast. Be sure to check out their latest single, Dying Clock, streaming now on your favorite music streaming platform. For all things A Light Within, head over to their official Facebook page /ALW Audio. I also want to thank Bob Bradley of Bradley PR for making this interview possible. You've been great. I've been George Dionne. Discover your next favorite artist on the Rock is George podcast.